So as I'm sure you've all heard, Reggie Fils-Aime is joining the GameStop board of directors, and now everyone is thinking, is he going to be able to save GameStop? As we know, the stock from GameStop has been plummeting over the last couple of years as they kind of are in a tough stage where they're trying to still sell used games as we move over into the digital era where digital downloads and streaming are becoming the norm and less people are going out and buying physical stuff. So this puts GameStop in a really weird predicament of how are they going to continue with their business? How are they going to keep it alive and keep it afloat? And how are they going to continue to attract customers to come and shop there? They've tried selling more merchandise, they're trying to sell more retro games, and they're really trying to push their online website as a place where you can shop and order games. It really hasn't been working. They're still kind of falling, they're still losing business, and they're still having to lay off employees and close stores. It's really now or never for GameStop. Going forward, they're going to have to make big changes in order to be able to compete with other streaming services and compete with publishers moving over to digital, and the future of really streaming being the way that gaming is going. As we can already see with Nvidia GeForce, now publishers are kind of pulling out of that service. So being a third-party streaming service doesn't seem like the way to go, because it seems like most publishers are going to want to be releasing their own games on their own streaming service, and there's probably going to be a lot of competition going forward, basically having to subscribe to many different services in order to play the games that you want. But GameStop's really going to have to pull something out of the bag here if they really want to compete. And to do that, they have hired Reggie Fils-Aime from Nintendo to be on the board of directors to give them ideas on how to go forward. Now, don't get me wrong, he is a brilliant mind in the gaming industry. At Nintendo, he did great things. He was around during some of the most successful times in Nintendo with the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo Wii, the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and then kind of resigning halfway through or in a couple years into its life cycle. He was also a great marketer, always very presentable, always coming up with great marketing ideas. To market it to the proper consumer base so people actually knew what Nintendo was offering and it was hitting the right target audience. So he was actually great for that. He understood that Nintendo and gaming wasn't just for hardcore gamers and that they had to run a company that appealed to children, to adults, and to families as a whole. And with the Nintendo Wii, with the Nintendo DS, they really tapped into that, and they were able to set crazy sales numbers and just set Nintendo on a path forward where they were even able to fail with the Nintendo Wii U. People thought that was like the gloom and doom of Nintendo, but they had so much money in the bank. Those two things specifically were huge that they could really just kind of fail with the Wii U, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And now we see the Nintendo Switch launch and how successful that has been. But of course, it takes a team to do any of this stuff. It's not just on Reggie. He's just one part of this entire thing. He was one part of the success that Nintendo has had over the years. So GameStop sees this. They obviously think that they need a brilliant mind in the industry to help them get out of the hole that they are in. Now, my biggest problem with this is that I think Reggie's great, like I've said many times. But if you look at Nintendo since Reggie has been there, if you look at what they have done great things with marketing. They have done great things with their innovation of their consoles, but they have lagged behind immensely, and they still do with anything that has to do with online functionality. Simple things such as parties, simple things such as friends lists, and not having friends codes still, being able to send messages to other users, and any sort of subscription-based service has been pretty abysmal from Nintendo compared to Microsoft and Sony and PC, obviously. So that is where I am a little bit concerned. I mean, bringing him in as a marketing genius, sure, makes sense. Bringing him in just to get his experience and his perspective on things that Nintendo did when he was there that could potentially help GameStop going forward makes a lot of sense. But is he going to be able to push GameStop into the next generation of gaming? Is he going to be able to push GameStop into a digital service, into a streaming service, into online functionality of some sort? I don't know. So there's a lot of hype about him joining GameStop. I just don't see how his previous experience is going to help push GameStop forward besides his marketing experience. I mean, the proof is kind of what you see in terms of where Nintendo is with digital, with online. He may have all these ideas. He may have gone into Nintendo and wanted to do a bunch of stuff and they shot him down. Maybe that's why he stepped down. That's why he retired from Nintendo. Probably not, but that could be a reason. And maybe he thinks that this is a great opportunity for himself in order to bring over those thoughts he wanted to Nintendo to do and bring them over to GameStop. Honestly, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They're probably paying him a really decent salary for who he is in the industry and for having him on the board of directors. So that's going to take even more spending from GameStop away from what they need to do to move forward. So we'll see how that works out. I am right now skeptical if this is actually going to change anything besides getting a few great ideas and marketing and stuff. But I mean, the word of mouth for GameStop for a lot of people is pretty bad right now. So they're going to really have to turn that around, just with all the YouTube videos out there, just with the perspective of you going into a store and people pushing stuff on you that you don't want to buy or trying to sell you bad games. Although personally, I haven't had that much of a bad experience with EB Games / GameStop. I've always had a decent experience. No one's really ever tried to bully me into buying anything or buying new stuff. So I know a lot of videos have been put out there about that stuff, but I've never really experienced it. So overall, I don't think Reggie is the savior to GameStop. I don't think, unless he comes in with a crazy new idea that's going to push it forward, that they're going to be saved. This is going to have to be a team effort. This is going to have to be everybody buying into a vision of the future, taking a little bit of a loss now, completely changing the way that they do things in order to survive going forward. I think that's really the only way forward for GameStop. And if they don't do that, I don't think it really matters who they bring in. Those are just my thoughts on this. I just want to talk about this because everyone's thinking that he may be the savior to the company, and I just think that's kind of unrealistic. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Do you think he is a savior? Do you think that he doesn't have what it takes to move forward in the industry based off what Nintendo has done previously? Let me know. I'd really love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.